I love Mega Man. And I don't know why. The games are shit, the fans are shit, Capcom is shit, and Mega Man Zero is better. With that being said, I still love the little blue bomber bastard child like a weekend father. While Mega Man 1 through 6 are angry review fodder and Mega Man 7 is the video game equivalent to Ambien, Mega Man 8, despite hailing from a worthless franchise, manages to stand out as the only functional, inoffensive entry in the series that I am not completely embarrassed to own. The reason I'm telling you all this is to provide context for a far more important story. Bill and Steve are two white trash statistics who, while I was attending college, mocked me for playing what they described as Fisher-Price Mega Man. It should please everyone to know that this welfare white knight and aging hipster Sasquatch have gone on to become a burnout man-child and vicious woman-beating alcoholic respectively. So fuck you, Bill and Steve. Mega Man 8 and I win. Released in 1996, Mega Man 8 is the game that came out before the unplayable Mega Man and Bass, and was originally released on the Sega Saturn, PlayStation, and Gateway PCs if you're one of the cool kids at my elementary school. Like all Mega Man plots, the story here is needlessly melodramatic, features god-awful voice acting, and includes one of the many little girls that a young Stoneberg would develop a secret crush for. Shit, my bad. So basically, Dr. Wily finds heroin in space and a mush-mouthed autist crashes on Earth only to be enslaved in Dr. Light's halfway house for broken robots by child soldier extraordinaire, Mega Man. Proto Man also shows up, whips out his Z-Saber, and saves the day like he did in Mega Man X9. Unlike its predecessors, Mega Man 8 provides a stiff challenge while still being possible to complete for those of us off of the spectrum. You can still run, jump, slide, you can't kick jump because Mega Man Zero is better, and you can have Rush transform into a motorcycle for some odd reason. Much like a future target of Max Payne, Mega Man can also attack with a soccer ball now. There are some definite God damn it! Parts like Frostman's Rocket Power Flash Game section, Astro Man's Festival Rape second act, and the boss harder than the actual boss in Aquaman stage. But for the most part, the stages are pleasant to play and remind you of a happier time, like the peace and quiet of your cell in county jail after your cage match with your white trash princess. Right, Bill? Like always, Mega Man has to defeat 8 sex toy-looking robot masters before he can hunt down Dr. Wily and break his belongings like a Sonic fan free from his handler. Fuck you, Travis. The new roster of self-aware machines that you cruelly slaughter include the Capcom standard of a few good bosses and the clearly out of ideas bosses. Some of my favorites include Clown Man, the only boss I've seen to actually molest Mega Man's adorable ass like my dentist, Bomb Man, an Islamic extremist who's about as responsible with his weapons as Anthony Cumia is with his firearms, and has a stage as feeble as the South American economy. Aquaman is another favorite because I know I'm going to need a few drinks in order to get through it.
I'm Aquaman, but you can call me Handsome Guy.
The only other one I can think of is Ren Fair Man. Much like Bill, he stands very tall and likes to carry himself as a tough guy and intellectual powerhouse, but is actually an idiot and ultimately weak against conflict and hygiene.
Nice shot.
Other than that, the rest of the bosses are comfortably boring and forgettable, much like Steven's room in his mother's apartment that he'll never leave. What the fuck is a Tengu, and how is a supple 5th grade Stoneberg supposed to know what it's weak against? How is a mid-20s Bill supposed to know that you're supposed to pay your parking tickets on time and not piss the bed? Fucking buffoon. I can identify with Searchman though. Not just because he's one of the shittier low-tier characters much like myself, but because I'm always searching too. Maybe Searchman can find my father's acceptance, or Steven's self-worth. With that being said, their stages are more often than not quite enjoyable and offer a fair amount of replayability for autistic speedrunners to livestream on Twitch. Frostman is just another forgettable ice boss, but with a magnificent soundtrack for his stage. In fact, the whole goddamn game soundtrack is magnificent. The primitive, overbearing chiptune loops the nostalgia nerds swoon over are pleasantly absent. In their place are beautiful red book soundscapes, the likes of which the series has never had before or had since. Shusaku Uchiyama really knocked it out of the park here, and I would gladly call him Dad. Aquaman's theme in particular takes me back to a happier time, like when I heard about the restraining order filed against Bill. Visually speaking, the game is a graphical roller coaster, and easily the most colorful of the classic Mega Man entries. This is likely due to the fact that it didn't come out on a glorified VCR. With that being said, Mega Man Zero still looks better. Steven mocked the game as having childish vibes, and I suppose he would know, chasing jailbait and all. But unlike Steven's embarrassed victim, Mega Man 8 has aged well and is still worth touching from time to time. Long story short, I find this game's presentation, both audio and visual, to be whimsical and charming, unlike the two puddles of Afterbirth I've had the displeasure of knowing for most of my miserable onion skin mess of a life. When I began this review, I said classic Mega Man sucks. And it still does! 9 and 10 were nostalgic shit, and 11 is just keeping X's seat warm. But Mega Man 8 is, scientifically, the best Mega Man game ever made. And I still think Mega Man Zero is better. A lot.